financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is budget management to financial success and some post-election consequences. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. That's such a odd combination of topics. It should be a very interesting morning.
Well, it's timing. Kelsey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Kelsey Simasco from Simasco Law.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
How's the family? How's Pat?
Pat's great.
How's Jim?
Jim's great. Pat just got home from vacation, and so he's doing well. Again, we found out that Jim is the greatest chauffeur in all of the land. He's been chauffeuring his teenage daughter around, and so we need to buy him a chauffeur's hat for the next show.
We'll have to do that for sure, and make a fancy presentation to him.
Oh, absolutely.
He would like that.
He needs the pageantry.
Yeah. All right, so I've been kind of thinking about the election. It's happened, and wanted to just kind of throw out for the team what consequences to the election are there from a financial standpoint. I'll tell you the one that immediately came to my mind because I dealt with it up to the election in several cases, and you guys are probably the same thing, is an estate plan. The unified credit, which is your exemption on how much you can pass tax-free, is presently, through 2025, $13.61 million per spouse. So if you had an estate of $27 million and you divided the estate between the two spouses, you could pass it under current law at $27 million, which takes care of virtually everybody.
At the end of next year, it's supposed to revert back
to $5 million.
Well, it's an adjusted $5 million, which is about $7 million right now.
And
not anybody's going to have a lot of sympathy if you have that much money, $14 million in your household.
Well, no, but it's
passing
$14 million
tax-free. Okay.
But there are actually a fair number of people that fall into that circumstance. And also from a planning standpoint, as soon as you're over the 7, you have to plan to make sure you split the estate to get the tax-free exemption amount. But I think that's going to go away.
Probably.
What's going to happen in the next term is the sunset provision on that law will be repealed, and it'll either be delayed further forward or it may be repealed permanently.
Well, it reminds me, back in the day when I started practicing law in ancient times, when we would do an estate plan, you would walk out with a book like this thick, and it was designed not for just to pass your assets on. It was all done for tax planning.
Because at that time, the exemption amount was $1,250,000
actually
per person.
Going way back, it was
600.
only 300 and something thousand.
You were alive then?
Yeah, I was.
Brian,
crazy. It was
did you carve your estate plans onto stone tablets?
Oh no, we used like papyrus.
But a phone call was only 10 cents in those days.
Phones weren't invented. What are you talking about?
And sometimes we use sheepskin. So.
Staying power.
Maybe Brian is actually older than I am.
Listen. It wasn't.
I had forgotten. You're right. I think when I went to law school, it was at 300, or maybe even 250.
Wasn't Moses your roommate though when you were in law school? I swear I saw a couple pictures of you guys hanging out.
I'm the one who parted the sea.
I'm the one who parted the sea.
It wasn't Moses.
Talk about fake news.
Right.
He just had a better PR guy.
Okay, so that's the estate plan one. So I'd say that's going to go. I say likely to. The sunset provision is likely to go away because I've had a number of clients that have been worried about that sunset provision, and what the conversation was, well, wait till November 5th and we'll have more information. Because had the election gone blue, it would have been clear that sunset provision would have kicked in. Mm-hmm. Student loan debt relief.
Gone. Completely gone. There will not be a single program other than the ones that were traditionally there during and before the Obama administration. We're not going back.
So what's the solution going to be for people with student loans?
So just so that everybody
Can
understands.
I jump in on that?
Yeah.
Because I actually just did some student loan planning for myself last night. So right now we're still in a forbearance period because all of the cases are going through the court system, right? So we're all not having to make our payments. None of us are collecting any interest though. We all need to be paying down our student loans as much as humanly possible right now because those payments are going to kick in, right? Interest is going to start accruing. And so if you have any spare cash right now.
So if you make a payment now, it goes to principal?
Yes,
Every
it all
payment
goes to principal.
You're absolutely right.
And so the last couple weeks, in light of the election, I'm not going to lie, I've been worried about it because I've been really benefiting from, these
deferral.
stays on these deferrals. And so now it's put money towards your student loans before Trump can get in office because you can pay him down in a couple months.
Because you could be kicking up to that 7.5%, 8% interest.
9%.
Well, so
11%.
luckily with all of our federal loans, lower interest rate, fixed interest rate. And so right now, mine is only I'm lucky I've got one at like 4%, right? But if you're someone who's about to be taking out student loans, I'd be really careful because again, there's not going to be any forgiveness in the future. There's not going to be any kind of forbearance. And so it's getting a little dicier.
So what you're going to see with the student loan issue is one, you have programs that allow you to repay what you can afford. And
will that continue?
I believe some of them will, the income-based repayment programs, but those are usually based on 10% of your disposable income. The Biden administration had put forth a program called SAVE, which was supposed to be based on 5% of your disposable income. On top of that, the Biden administration had been a big push for loan forgiveness programs after 10 years that were always in place but never effectuated. The probability is those are going to be much harder to get your loans forgiven, and you're not going to see those other programs that relate to 5% anymore.
The only thing that I can think of is I recall in the last Trump administration, there was a point in time where he was somewhat amiable towards some student debt relief. I kind of remember that, but I think it's probably a thing of the past. Let's take a break, see if we can figure out any other consequences, and then talk about budget management.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
If your loved one is struggling with age-related issues, let our family help your family. Call Samasco Law now. We're family-owned and growing. Meet Joe Frizzard and Kelsey Simasco, our newest superstars. We'll handle your issues with care, compassion, and dedication. At Simasco Law, we'll leave no stone unturned until your family is protected for the long term. We'll walk together. That's what families do. Simasco Law. Protect what matters.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so back to student loans. So what is the solution?
Well, if the programs go away that the Department of Education has currently...
Wasn't there a DOJ program?
Well, that's inside of bankruptcy. So right now, there's a voluntary program working with the Department of Justice. If you file a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13 and you otherwise meet a whole bunch of other standards, you can discharge your student loans. The problem is that's not a permanent program. It's just kind of like a test program, and I have this strange feeling that change of administration is going to cause that program to go away.
Discretion of whoever's running the DOJ.
Right, and as we all know, things are going to get a little more conservative.
Yeah. All right.
So how are you going to
that goes away.
So that means that the things you're going to need to do to control your student loans, either you're going to work with the old-fashioned income-based repayment programs, or Chapter 13 can help you control your student loans. It'll help control both the government-backed student loans and the private student loans.
If you threw yourself into a 13, that would put you in, it wouldn't discharge the debt, but it would minimize any payment for up to
5 years.
5 years.
And it
which
could
gets you
discharge
to the
the
next
debt.
administration.
Right. It could discharge the debt if they don't remove the current program, but I just don't have a lot of faith that that program is going to stick around.
So I see a solution here, though. Okay, so it's because realistically, even before, if you couldn't make anything work, Chapter 13 was your remedy, and you didn't have the discharge any assurance before. If you're in that situation now, you end up in a 13. It resolves and makes it an affordable situation for you. And what you have to hope for is that down the road, next administration, there's a different view of the world. If you think about history and the way our government shifts back and forth, yes, now we're into the red side completely. Midterms are going to come. It's not going to be all red after midterms because it never is. They'll lose the House or they'll lose the Senate. And then 4 years from now, the answer is it depends. What does it depend on? I think the lesson from the last one is it depends on inflation.
It depends on the economy.
If you said what is the one issue, it was inflation. It wasn't the economy. We had good growth. We have low unemployment. It was the inflation factor. It was the cost of food, because to the normal person trying to make ends meet, if all of a sudden the meat costs twice as much as it did 4 years ago, and your income is the same, that's a big problem.
And that's a big worry that's people are worried about
the
coming
tariffs.
into. I mean, if you're going to put tariffs on a 60% tariff on every single product imported into the United States, that's what
you think that's going to happen?
I would hope not. I think it's going to be.
But even if you do selective tariffing, and you're selective as to which you pick, trying to pick the ones that there's an alternative to buy domestic, doesn't that still reverse back on you because the other side imposes their countermeasures?
Because what
I think it's complicated.
Well, if you look at what happened in the previous administration of Trump, when he put all his tariffs on China, then they put tariffs on all the things that they import, food. It actually hurt the farmers across the United States tremendously, and which caused the price of food to go up in the United States. It's a tit for tat, and eventually, you know who pays for it? You do, I do, you do. At the grocery store,
Yeah.
so when we go buy a car,
So if he sees that going wrong,
when you
he'll
buy a
change.
computer, anything.
You think if he sees that going wrong, he'll just fix it and change course? I don't think he's one to be. I don't think he's that stubborn. I think he goes with the flow. He just decides what the flow is.
I don't
It's
know.
hard to predict. I mean, I'm trying to stay level-headed and calm about the whole process and saying, I'm not going to listen to. There's no point in listening to the doomsday consequence that you might hear from the media, because if they're right, they're right. But listening to them tell you about it at this point, you don't have any decisions to make. The election's done.
Yep.
So don't get yourself so upset and worried about what may come until it comes back to the same thing that, you go to the doctor and he says, I want you to go to have this test because, I want you to do this cancer screen because I didn't see something right. Are you going to sit there for the 2 weeks before you have the test thinking, I'm going to die, I'm done, this is over with, which some people will do? Or are you going to sit there and say, you know what? I don't have any control of this. I'm going to go take the test. If they tell me I'm going to die, then I'm going to panic. But in the 2 week period before then, I'm going to stay calm. Well, that's how I view the world.
Well, that's a rational, logical way
Not
to
everybody
look.
does.
But not everybody's
Right.
on that same page. And the reality is no matter what happens, if they raise tariffs, they're going to impact your wallet, my wallet, and your
And
wallet.
if that happens, credit card debt's going to go up.
Yep.
But equally, I think with all of this, no matter what he does, this is a song and dance we've seen before, right? It's not
We've been here before.
It's not like this is the first Trump presidency. This is the second one. And we've had a full 4 years to kind of analyze what the ramifications of the first administration was. Now that we're on the other side of it, I think it's just important to stay smart. Don't panic, but equally, you have to look down the pipe at what we know is coming. We know that in 2025, tax rates are going up 3% for everyone, unless he changes that, right?
He will.
We know that the stock market is the highest it's ever been. And so he's toting, economic growth and, the stock market being great and all of this good stuff. It can't stay this high forever. For years and years and years, financial professionals have been saying, listen, something is coming, right? And whether that's tariffs making prices more expensive so that now we have to draw off of our investments a little bit more, whether it's the stock market does crash because, again, we're at sky highs that we've never seen before. You just have to be careful. You just have to budget. You just have to be smart.
Time will tell.
Which is
Let's
why
take it-
budget management is key to the individual.
Which is what we have to get to on this show.
Right.
We'll take a break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
So, how old should your grandsons be before they can spend their inheritance on their own?
Thanks, Grandma.
Yeah, thanks, Grandma. This car's awesome.
Thanks, Grandpa. We got 2.
35. You've worked hard your whole life to create a lasting legacy for your heirs. Let Samasco Law help you make the right decisions to protect the ones you love. Samasco Law, protecting what means most, because that's what we do.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
All right, so what is budget management?
All right, let me tell you what it's not. It's not belt tightening. It's not denying yourself something so that you can achieve a short-term goal. Budget management is simply the concept.
So it means like don't go out to eat, like all of a sudden I can't go out to eat 3 days a week?
The transmission's out in your car and you need to get it fixed. You don't have the cash. You deny yourself something so you can quickly amass the cash to fix the transmission. That's belt tightening. Budget management is the art of eliminating waste in your budget without denying yourself anything that's worthwhile.
So do I have to do all of that before I can fix the transmission?
No, you do.
Or can I still fix the transmission?
You can still fix the transmission.
So I can drive?
But that's belt tightening.
Okay.
Okay, but if you go through budget management, the end game is to establish goals. And those goals include creating an emergency fund in case the transmission goes out.
Good point.
A vacation fund, a college fund for your kids, a retirement fund. Things that when people walk in...
So you can achieve the 3-point retirement plan.
Right, because when people walk in and they're struggling with their budget, there's two consistent things that are going on. One, they're wasting money. Two, they're in credit card debt. Okay? And while many people are willing to achieve eliminating their debt through a bankruptcy or through debt resolution, there's a whole group of people out there that say, I don't want to hurt my credit score in spite of the fact that it will heal. Find me a solution that gets me out of debt without destroying my credit.
So how do you do that?
Budget management. What it is I'll give you the simple concept. The first thing you do is categorize your spending. I make it simple. Necessary spending, not necessary spending, and sort of necessary spending. The necessary spending is what keeps a roof over your head. You don't have a choice in that. You may have a choice in the roof, but effectively, if you have a house or rent and you have a car payment and you have to buy groceries, these are the things that these sustain us in our expenses. If you had $3,000 take-home pay and you have $3,000 worth of sustaining expenses, rent, electric, gas, water, etc., you can't have any fun with money, period. So now, on the flip side, you have not necessary expenses. That would be the things like eating out, going on vacation,
having fun.
Having fun with money, right? And if you're in debt, you shouldn't be having a whole lot of fun with money because you need to get yourself out of debt. You know, the theory is cash is king. So through budget management, what I do is I work with the client to figure out where they have to spend their money, where they want to spend their money, and where, when they want to spend their money, what do they get the most satisfaction out of? And what we try to do is eliminate the expenses that are made that really you can't remember that you made them the next day. Kind of like I could have taken my lunch to work, but instead I swung through McDonald's and spent $12 instead of taking a sandwich that I made at home that cost me $3. It achieves the same goal.
It amazes me how much you can save by eating at home.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I fell into
Oh,
that
yeah.
because we used to eat out every night, and then we just kind of got burned out on that, even pre-COVID. And since then, I kind of rarely eat out. We're just more and I laugh. Like if I grill 2 hamburgers and take a baked potato and turn it into fries and have a little salad, I add up the whole cost of the meal, and it's about $9.50. Where if we went out and had the same exact meal,
$70,
or at
including
least
tip.
45 anyway.
Yeah.
Without a drink.
Without tip.
Yeah,
Without
so you're looking at each expense and you're deciding whether it's worthwhile. And we do an analysis over many months. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to be involved, but what we do is we find extra money. And when we find that extra money, we create a path and a pattern with the debt to get you out of debt.
And then you start saving that money.
Right. And when you change the way you think about spending, it is amazing how much you find that you were wasting. And that's the key to budget management. And it differs from doing a bankruptcy or Chapter 13 because this is a voluntary program where you change your life, not just change to belt tighten.
So if I want to do budget management, is that something that I actually call you to do?
Yeah.
Because I don't do budget management.
Yeah, it is something that, because you can try it yourself, but you've been trying it yourself your whole life. This is a different.
You always need outside guidance to help you make the hard choices.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Because you have to make choices.
You do. But at the end of the day, you're better off, and you get to achieve the goal of having money in the bank, having no
Ultimately,
debt,
you're gonna
and
increase,
having your house
You're
paid
going
off.
to increase that fund for fun.
Yeah, and as we're looking into how much debt we're possibly going to be facing in the world, and the expense of everything going up, this could be a critical way to get yourself out of debt and get yourself forward in these next 4 years.
Budget management, Brian's the man. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.